Okay, so first off, I'm not claiming that this is the best model out there. Not at all. But out of the 100 models that I put together this year from 8 different places, this one has been my favorite. For a lot of reasons. So let's talk about it. This model is called Steelforged, and it's from the game Conquest, which, honestly, I don't know a ton about. All I know is that it's a tabletop game that's out there. They sent me some models to look at, and it's got a very unique art style. It's the first model from the box that they sent me that I have put together, and it was also one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had putting together a model. And so as I was doing it and, I got done and I looked at it, I honestly thought to myself, why? What made this model so much different from the other ones that I've put together so far? And I think I figured it out. But as always, if you think I'm wrong, let me know and I will promptly tell you why I'm not wrong and that I'm always right. No, honestly, I'll listen. Tell me what you think. I put together a list of what I think makes a model perfect. Is there a model range out there that is perfect? Honestly, not that I've seen. Some come closer to the others. But what in my mind makes a perfect model? And let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm missing something. Because honestly, to me, this is what makes it perfect. And maybe you think I'm crazy. Okay? But that's okay. So first off, material. The material. What is the model made out of? It can be made out of metal. It can be made out of plastic. It can be made out of resin. It can be made out of combinations of those. It can be made out of PLA if you're printing it on a printer. I'm not excluding 3D printed models because some of the companies that I've got models from 3D print them. Okay? But what I want to say about this is material matters. Infinity, a lot of their miniatures are printed in metal, white metal, right? To their credit, all of the models that I put together have been very easy. The way that they do the fitting together, it's almost like everything usually has something to kind of hang on. And so super glue, it works. Okay, but plastic glue is always going to be better, for plastic models. It's important that when you're putting it together, the material that's used bonds quickly. Because then you have situations like this. This is an old War Machine model. Completely made out of white metal, and these wings are so heavy. This thing was a nightmare to put together. It took hours to assemble.
Sorry, but it's true.
Because I had to do like rubber bands and all these different things to keep the wings held up while the glue cured. And honest truth, I'm terrified it's going to fall apart all the time. Okay, so the material has to be a good curing material. And like I said, Infinity does a great job with theirs. And when they get into bigger models, they generally move over to plastic or something else because they know that weight makes it harder. So there are good companies out there that switch things up, but the material is important. And honestly, resin, plastic, a combination of the two is generally what I think makes the best models right now. The quality of the model. And now I know quality can mean a ton of different things, but basically what I mean is that when you give me a model, I know what everything on it is. Oh, that's a bag. That's a gun. Oh, that's a sword handle. All those different things. I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten a model, put it together, and been painting it and just been like, I don't know what this thing is that I'm painting. And it's not even so much that it's like, it's fantasy and you don't know what it is because it's a fantasy item. It's just because it blends so well with everything else that I don't know if it's a clasp. I don't know if it's a button. I don't know if it's the head of a mouse sticking out of a pocket. It could be any of those things. So I feel like good quality, and we've all seen the board game miniatures that come and they're like Clayface from Batman. You're not sure what anything is. Okay. That's what I'm saying. It has to be clear enough to know what you're painting so that when you're actually painting it, you don't have to stop and just think, oh man, what is this piece? Okay. And sometimes things are too detailed, and we'll get into that a little bit later because then you kind of have the same thing. Okay. So anyway, quality. It has to meet that nice middle point where you know what everything is, but it's not too crazy either. Now, the third thing is it's got to be easy to assemble. And I don't mean it has to be like a puzzle, and you just, this piece goes here, this piece goes here. It's perfect. Games Workshop, I feel, has gone very to one side with this because they do all their press to fit stuff. So it's like, you don't even need glue anymore. You can just press everything together. And I kind of like that. I kind of don't. And I think a lot of people are the same way. Like, the model just has to be easy to put together. Okay, it has to be... I love War Machine. I love their models. I think they look great. The box set that they just came out with, the 2-player box set, every character was like a minimum of 8 or 9 pieces. This guy from Infinity was 3, maybe 4. No, I think it was 3. I think it was 3 pieces. Okay, and that to me is easy to put together. I'm not saying that the War Machine models were hard to put together, because they weren't. I was able to do it without instructions, but I'm saying that there is definitely a way to make it easier. Okay, and so many people right now are obsessed with the next one that we're going to talk about, which is cleanup, right? You have layer lines, you have all those things, and it's like they're doing their best to hide those things to make it so it's not something that you have to do. So basically what they mean is, once you put the model together, it's done. You don't have to go back and do cleanup, which War Machine, like I said, a lot of pieces, but almost 0 lines, which was awesome. I mean, I think this model honestly just had the one on the gun. That was kind of like, you should clean that up a little bit. But everything else, they've done such a good job of hiding it. Okay, and I know that it's probably one of those things that, like, the scale, you got to kind of decide what you want to do. Is it going to have layer lines and be easy to put together, or is it going to be a little more difficult to put together but have no layer lines? And so, like I said, I don't think there's a perfect model yet, but I think there are models that have gotten perfect in some of these things. And the last thing I want to say about assembling the models, I can't imagine what people think when they get a box with like 200 figures in it and look at that just pile of sprues. That has got to be the most intimidating thing in the world, because it's going to take them hundreds of hours to cut those out and put them all together, which is why 3D printed, in my mind, is so attractive to some people, because the model comes and it's done. Next up on my list is busyness. And what I mean by that is, a model shouldn't be too busy. I love seeing art with all of the cool things and the hundreds of buckles and the individual chinks in the armor and whatever, like I get that. I like to see that, but painting it is a nightmare. Okay, yes, there are things that you can do to make it a little bit easier, but I have not seen a content creator or a painter of these models that just thinks, I wish they would add so much more detail and so much, I shouldn't even say detail, but like so many more bags. This Space Marine should have 20 ammo bags on him, or stuff like that. People add a ton of stuff when they don't have to. Sometimes simplicity is what makes it great. And I mean, I don't want it to be too simple, but 1 or 2 ammo bags, a hip weapon, that's plenty. They don't need a bandolera of knives and like a million other little things on them. Sure, there's a place for that, I guess. But in my mind, the best miniatures are also simple to paint, and they look great, and they allow creativity. That's what I think busyness does, is that it kills the creativity. Oh, I'm going to make this, his pants look weathered and, scratched. Well, you can't, because there's so much crap on it that you can't. Okay. So in my mind, they have to be semi-simple. And with that comes customizability. A model needs to be customizable. One of the things that I love so much about the Steel Forged is that it came with a lot of extra pieces, a couple heads, a couple different hands, different things like that. I mean, the original model, from all the artwork and everything that I've seen, looks like this. And I didn't like that. I didn't care for that. I mean, I thought it's cool, but it's not an action pose. It's not like anything. It's just sitting, basically. And I was like, I can do something better than that. And that's why I put it together like this. It's moving forward. It's ready to attack. It's got its other arm backwards, so it's not thrown off center, And I didn't have to do anything to this. There is no kit bashing. I was literally able to build this with what they sent me. And I didn't have to add anything to it. I didn't have to take anything away. I didn't have to cut anything. They gave me a lot of options because of, rotating joints and things like that. And the model was just easy to put together however I wanted to put it together. And they gave me a lot of extra pieces, like a different backpack, a different head, different arms, different hands. I could have made it a 3-jointed arm if I wanted to, because they gave me enough pieces to do so. And that could have been cool, or I could have gave it like extra long legs if I wanted to, It was nice to be able to customize it without having to really get into customize it. And again, that goes back to materials. The materials have to be something that you can cut, so you can kit bash, so you can change it. This company gets that. Easy to cut, easy to change, extra pieces in case I need them. They gave me what I needed to make this model mine. I'm not going to find another model that looks exactly like this one. And that to me speaks volumes. And one thing just kind of just clicked in my brain about customizability. The snap to fit, it takes that away. It forces you to kit bash. There are certain little things, like I said, those ball joints. Putting the head on your Space Marine shouldn't be it's got to be in this pose. It should be he's looking off into the distance, or he's staring at his hands covered in the blood of his enemies, or whatever else, right? You should be able to customize as much as you can. And I know that there's, like I said, that scale. You got to decide what you're going for, ease versus customizability versus all of these things. And so, is there a perfect model out there? I don't think so. Not yet. There are companies that are getting very close to what they believe is perfect. Okay. I don't think there's anyone out there that's got exactly what I'm asking for, but that's okay. Maybe one day when I make my own models, if I ever get there, I can do it perfect my way, and hopefully people will like that. But ultimately, like I said in my last video, this hobby should be a fun hobby, and I don't mean just the gaming part of it. I mean the gaming part of it, the building part of it, the army list part of it, creating something that's yours that you can go out and play with that was fun from start to finish. That's the goal. That's what this should be. Some companies have forgotten that. Some are learning it all over again. And it's been super awesome to watch. So, if you think I'm crazy, let me know. If you think there's something that should be added to that, please let it go. Let me know in the list. Let me know what's the best part of building the armies and the units that you build. I want to know what you enjoy about building your armies and why. And what army it is, for that fact. So list those below for me. Let me know. Comments help the channel grow. I want to get this out to as many people as I can. Please like and subscribe. Here at Pulse Kit Games, that's what we're all about, is making everyone's experience the best that it can be. And if you can help me find a game with models that are just super fun to put together, that means something. That means a lot to me, and I would love to see that. So let me know down below. And I'll be putting a video together in the future about Conquest and about their skirmish game as well. I've got Malifaux stuff coming. I've got Blackout stuff coming. I got all sorts of stuff coming. I'm going to be doing more on Infinity and War Machine. So if any of that interests you, please stick around. And as always, don't spend so much time building your world that you forget to spend some time in it. Till next time.